My name's Carina Vitti and I'm principal here at Holy Cross. Welcome back to Holy Cross, or Bury Convent as it was. And we're delighted that you could join us for this reunion tonight. You might be pleased to know that as a college, we've continued in the traditions of the Daughters of the Cross. We have a clear focus on the 7 values which you heard woven into the prayer of faith, vision, daring, service, humility, compassion, and joy. And we choose a value for each year. This year's value has been joy, and next year's is daring. So we're interested to see what our students and staff come up with for that one. We work really hard as a staff to improve our students' life chances, making sure that excellence in all parts of their lives is placed alongside academic excellence, and we know that that has been handed down to us from the Daughters of the Cross. Part of our mission is about helping each person to develop morally, spiritually, intellectually, and emotionally, and to welcome staff and students of all faiths and those of none. And this is for us about life being rich in experiences and about the opportunity for students and staff to develop here, to become their best selves, as Sister Mary Kelly used to say. We believe that it's important for all of us to take time to connect with something other than the material world, to think and reflect, and we continue to try to instill this in our students. We have a clear understanding of our mission as custodians of this college and convent, following in the footsteps of the Daughters of the Cross. So you may know this already, but the name for the Daughters of the Cross in French, I believe, is Filles de la Croix. And as a linguist, I was particularly interested in this, as you can imagine. And fille in this particular context means servants. So the idea of serving others, of having a vocation, is really important for all of us here at Holy Cross, including the students. And I've read somewhere that Blessed Marie-Thérèse was exiled during the French Revolution, and this is when she became acutely aware of the transitory nature of material belongings. In the college's distinctiveness statement, which was written by Sister Mary Kelly and staff here at the college many, many years ago now, there's a long tradition of caring for all who work here and for staff to be sustained and developed in an atmosphere of encouragement and support. And we, of course, extend that to students. This approach is central to Holy Cross. And as the Daughters of the Cross say, you can't separate the love of God from the love of people. As an ex-student of this college myself, I know firsthand the power an education here can have.
Hello, good evening, old girls. It's fabulous to have so many people here. I know quite a few of you do know who I am, but for those of you who don't, I'm the Chair of Governors here. I've been a governor here for, I think, nearly 20 years now, and it's in my blood now to be part of this place. I am an old girl. I was one of those last old girls as well. We came in 78, that's it, yeah, there are a group of us here. 1978, so just before it all changed, just after the centenary, we missed those celebrations, but we were here and we were the last brown uniforms. In fact, Henry Barry stopped stocking the uniform but just before we left, so it was any old brown skirt you could find, and they're not that easy to find, and any old brown jumper and so on. So welcome back. You are very, very welcome indeed. I think you can tell from what Carina said that you can be assured that the mission and ethos that came with the Daughters of the Cross and that we all felt and lived whilst we were here is still very much alive in the college. I think Carina mentioned the prayer. The prayer that Sister Pat read out is based on those charisms of the Daughters, and this year is our year of joy, and this is just a fantastic way for us, I mean the college hasn't finished yet, but it's a fantastic way for us to be a part of that year of joy.
shop was in there, but you got through it from inside.
Yeah, you came down the steps that go down into.
That's right.
Into
Where
here.
5T and whatever were.
Yeah. There was a long tuck shop with all the chocolates when the Sister Wilfrid it was.
That's right, Sister Wilfrid. What year were you?
75 to 80.
73. So these were the 5th year classrooms. They were 4th year classrooms.
Do you remember what
was that?
Do you remember
and that was 5T, and that was my classroom.
I was 5D. I was Mr. Ram.
When it got really foggy, if you looked out the school office and couldn't see that cross on the top of the chapel, it was too foggy, we'd get sent home. So we always used to really hope that you couldn't see the cross, but then they put an extension on the school office and you could see the cross all the time. It was very miffling.
So I'm Jackie and this is Sharon, and we were here from 1969 to 1976. And this area was our play area. It was all grassed in the middle, but every break and things we'd play around here. And some things that we remember particularly, the one I remember is along here we used to play elastic. So literally we'd have elastic between our legs and play elastic. And then also, you remember Monty Python and Ministry of Silly Walks? So that was big. So we'd wander along here doing those sort of silly walks all the way along there.
And then over there, near to the headmistress's office, we used to play jacks, with those little things and throw the ball in the air.
Yeah,
we did that for hours, didn't we?
Yeah.
Simple times.
Simple times, yeah.
Not all. And I didn't go to Leicester University. I went to teacher training in rugby, and it was the first opportunity to get a degree as a teacher. So they did it at Leicester University.
I think we all got different memories of Sister Thomas More.
She mellowed as she got older.
Well, I missed a week of needlework one year, and going back in the next week, I was so terrified of being behind in needlework that I pretended I was ill. So the only time I ever wagged school was to miss a Sister Thomas More lesson.
Speaks volumes.
Yeah. But you like Sister Thomas More?
Yeah, I made a really nice shirt that I got my first interview with in my job.
Oh.
And they said, what hobbies do you have? And I said, you think, coming from a Catholic school, it's needlework. This is what have you made? This shirt. Wow!
So our classroom in 2T was off the sewing room, and we had our own little cloakroom, which then opened onto Jacob's Ladder, where the nuns used to go down into their quarters.
Yeah.
Sister Thomas More used to use Jacob's Ladder to come up to our classroom. And one day we thought it would be quite funny to hide in the cloakroom behind all the coats, and when she came up Jacob's Ladder and opened the door, we all jumped out from under these coats in the cloakroom and frightened her to death, and she nearly fell back down Jacob's Ladder. Consequence of that was we all got limes.
That was our big punishment here.
That was a step too far for fun.
But the best part around here was down there, by near where the old cloakrooms were, Sister Wilfrid's tuck shop. You couldn't beat Sister Wilfrid's tuck shop.
No.
And the fresh done buns.
And then in the summer we could have ice creams and ice lollies.
So good old Sister Wilfrid, she was lovely.
And I remember that when we were in 1A, we were on the top floor at the furthest end. Mm-hmm. And as new students, we were always a bit nervous at lunchtime because the staircase led down to the dining hall, and the dinner ladies would nab us. In other words, we'd have to leave our friendship group and fill up on tables with people we didn't know.
Rector.
And we used to get nabbed, didn't we?
Yeah,
and we didn't like that because we were scared and we wanted to be with our friends. And
used to hang over the banister
Yeah.
and say, oh, the nabbers are there.
yeah,
Let's
and,
wait.
and we used to keep our hands against the wall, away from the banister, because we knew that that the dinner lady could look up the gap between the floors and see hands moving down the down the banister. Two now. And we used to think, oh no, we don't know those people, and we'll get the cloth. We always got the cloth job. The cloth job was the worst job of it because it was family service, and they used to make us do the cloth, and it was full of
you had
food.
separate jobs. You had dinner server, dinner plates, pudding server, water, and the worst job, cloth. That was wiping up.
Go and rinse it out and wipe the table clean for the next group of students to sit at the same table.
Not good.
We didn't like that.
But no, we loved it. And the old the crush passage, which several years ago we had a bit of a reunion for our year here, and the caretaker kept asking me why it was called the creche. It wasn't. What are you on about, a creche? He said, why did a convent school have a creche? It wasn't the creche, it was called the crush passage. Because those of us who got coaches back to the various towns like Middleton, Blakely, you had to go out the tiny little door at the back to get on the coaches.
Onto the street, to the cobbled street.
So everyone was crushing through, and it became known as the crush passage, unless you were the caretaker who called it the creche. So, what do you think we are?
And Sister Mary Kelly used to refer it to as that, didn't she, in assembly? If she was
passage.
reprimanding us about a location of the school, it was known as the crush passage.
Crush passage. No, and Sister Lucy was just round the corner under the other stairs, with the rough books and blotting paper, and you had to go and see Sister Lucy with your rough book, and she'd check that you'd used it all before you could get a new one.
I think we had to get them signed.
Yeah, Sister Lucy did it, and then the blotting paper, you had to show her that you'd used all the blotting paper, because we weren't allowed to use biros, we had to use fountain pens. So I used to go with more ink on my hands. Sister!
Me and my friend in Rome in about 1960.
The school scarf was bought at Henry Barry's, but my mum couldn't afford that, so she knitted me one. I think I was the only one in school with a hand-knitted scarf. It's probably warmer actually, because it's much thicker than that.
I was here in 1952 to 1957. So I think I'm one of the old girls, but I don't feel old. So
young at heart.
Young at heart, yes. Sister Emily Mary was the headmistress. She was lovely. And there were quite a number of sisters here at that time. A few people have mentioned them tonight. Sister Philip Anthony and John Dolores. Of course, the names changed. We went back to our baptismal names, you see, so some people don't recognise the names.